Okay. We are back, and it's such a good day. It's such a good day whenever Chelsea win and whenever Chelsea get 3 points, whenever Chelsea breach that gap and get into the top four like we are right now. Obviously, that depends on the Liverpool-Arsenal game that's going to be playing out shortly. And yeah, we're kind of hoping for a Liverpool win there, so Arsenal do not get any points and we can stay in the top four and be above them. We'll obviously talk about points more in depth, but let me just quickly do my routine checks as always. Let's pause this. Let's pop out the chat. Where's my chat? Where is the chat? There we go. Welcome in. Oh man, it's such a good feeling to be winning a game like this, because it feels like such a measuring stick, because Newcastle were a team that could cause us problems. They're a team that could be very stalwart and we wouldn't be able to get through. The Discord's going off again. We wouldn't usually be able to get through. And it was, again, it's one of those, I put this on Twitter, but it's one of those games where last season, the way that this game played out, especially towards the end of the match where it got really scrappy, this was the type of game that we would 100% be losing points on if we were playing it last season. Whereas this season, under this new management, and just this more clean kind of together group of players, yeah, we're just a completely different beast. And yeah, we can laugh at Spurs, we can laugh at Man United as well. We've got a lot of our rival teams around us are dropping points, which is excellent for us. And again, as I said, we're hoping that Arsenal follow suit. Good prediction from you then. I'm kind of, it's funny because the game played out a lot differently to how I kind of expected it to play out in truth, and I'm not going to talk too much about tactics in this review, but what I'm going to basically do, because obviously we're playing Newcastle again in 3 days in the Cup. I'm basically going to kind of combine my preview for that and the kind of do a kind of tactical breakdown on this game at the same time and kind of hit both of those topics in that video. So that'll obviously be out a day before the Cup game. And yeah, well, if if my technological problems would cease for a few days so I could actually get stuff done, that would be great. But yeah, let's hit the intro and we can get into our Feeling Blue. Lads, lasses, and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC, and welcome to Season 2 of Feeling Blue. Let's go. Alright, welcome to Feeling Blue. Should I do an official intro? Let's do an official intro. The series in which I take 7 points, my lucky number of 7 points, and we talk about our good feelings and go over to our bad feelings. Spoiler alert, there's not going to be too many bad feelings. The majority of the things which I am going to be talking about are good things, as is usually the case when we win games. But yeah, just hang on, let me just quickly respond to a question. Do you reckon we start the second team in the Cup? Yes, I do. I think that, especially with how Newcastle have got so many injuries, I think they are going to be rotating heavily to go into that game. And I expect us to do the same thing. I would expect us to see a few of the players that started today probably start in that game. I think Palmer would probably be a good shout to start there, because obviously he doesn't play in the Conference League, so like risking him is not too much of an issue. Enzo, again, another one who probably would start, I would imagine. But yeah, and obviously he played today off the bench, so apart from that, I think we will kind of rotate, and I expect them to do. I was gonna say, I saw that terminology, and I was gonna say that kind of that makes more sense than calling it the B team, because both of our teams are very good. Let's get into the points. As I said, we've got I have 5 points that are going in good. I have 2 points that are going into the bad, so that's our 7. And then obviously we'll vote for the true blue at the end. But it's kind of obvious who's going to get in there, so I could just probably put him in already. But there we are. Let's talk about the first player that's going into the good box, and it's for one Nicholas Jackson, who I predicted in my preview to score. I didn't think that this game would be as open as it was, but I did think that he would get a goal. And it's, even though it's such a gifted goal for him, it's not the goal. The goal, rather, is not the reason why he's in this box. It's his overall play today was absolutely superb. He was dropping deep into the midfield, acting as that kind of false nine. He was holding up the ball really, really well, and just being who I believe, and this I'm going to say this a very specific way of saying this. He is the best number 9 in the league, hands down. Absolutely the best number 9 in the league. There is no one that is better than him in terms of all-round 9 play. I know the argument, and everyone will be like, as soon as you say that, the first thing anyone says is, what about Haaland? I think that Haaland is by far the best striker in the game. Anytime Haaland's in the box, he's the best player basically in the league. He's untouchable. But the rest of the game, in terms of bringing other players into it, being a channel runner, being that false 9, being able to link up with his teammates, Jackson blows him out of the fucking water. Genuinely, I think he is so good, and it's one of those things where we saw this last season. I've been banging on about this guy since before we signed this guy. I knew as soon as I saw him when he was playing in Spain, I was like, this guy's a different breed. And it's just, it's crazy how he's gotten so much better since last season, because he was already good last season. Obviously, as a point that I like to bring up about Jackson is that he outscored Didier Drogba in Didier Drogba's first season for Chelsea, in his first season for Chelsea, which kind of goes to show like how the potential that he has in a turbulent season where we didn't play particularly well, and he still was managing to rack up those numbers. Now we've got such a more settled team, and he's already racking up the goal contributions. I believe he's got 9 goals and assists already this season, which is kind of crazy. Just again though, today just unplayable. Such a good centre forwards performance, and again really nice taken goal, because those are the chances, those are the types of chances that last season he might have missed and we might have been ruining, not taking. He's taking them now, and it's just what a baller, what an absolute baller. I love this guy. And again, I said this a few streams ago. I love when Jackson scores, because every time he scores, it always feels like it's the first time he's ever scored. His celebrations, he celebrates like he's never scored a goal in his life before, and I just love seeing him after the goal. It's absolute comedy. I love this guy. Very good vibes. Let's move into another. Let's talk about another forward. Another player that I thought was absolutely superb today, and surprisingly so, because I didn't expect him to play. I don't think anyone expected him to play today, and that's Pedro Neto. This guy came onto the left wing, which again is not his favourite position, but he can play there. Obviously, when he was playing for Wolves, he was good on either side. As Arsenal just scored. Oh, fucking hell. Bollocks. Hang on, let me see if I can. I'll see if I can guess the goal scorer. Was it Mikel Merino? Did he score? That's my wild guess. But anyway, yeah, Pedro Neto absolutely unplayable today. Obviously getting the assist for Jackson's goal, but just absolutely tirelessly running all game. He played the full 90 and just bombing it down that left-hand side. He was causing so many issues for Tino Livramento, and that battle between the two was actually really good to see. Was it Saka? That makes sense. You guys probably know this from the way that I tweet. I have a soft spot for Saka. I actually really like Saka as a player. So I'm happy for him, not happy for the team. I wish he played for a different team. I really do. Love him when he plays for England though. But yeah, Pedro Neto, speaking of left-footed wingers, just his, not only his wing play and the fact that he was being so devastating, but again, his defensive contribution today was really good for him. He was, there's a moment which I remember from the second half where I believe it's Malo Gusto runs up the pitch to press and completely puts himself out of position, and Neto runs about 60 yards back from his right wing position. Obviously he'd swapped over at that point to get back and do the defending, and it's again, in a game where we didn't kind of expect, I personally didn't anyway, expect Neto to play, and I kind of expected Sancho to be starting again. I'm very surprised we didn't see Sancho at all. I'm assuming he's probably going to be saved for the Newcastle game in the Cup, maybe. He'll probably start there if Mudryk doesn't. Obviously, Mudryk came off the bench today. But yeah, just a really, really good wing performance from Neto. Again, as I said, he gets the assist. He could have had a goal. He got a header that hit the post. Very, very good performance from him. And I think he was genuinely, apart from Palmer, I think he was the highest rated player in the team. Such a good player. And you know what's the thing which is really impressive, and the thing which I'm really happy for, is that he got through 90 minutes without getting injured, because we know how injury prone he can be. To see him being perfectly fine after 90 minutes is a godsend. And you know what, on that exact same topic, let's talk about another player. This might be a bit controversial. People might be thinking that I'm being a bit too positive here. I'm putting Reece James in here because there was a lot of talk about the captaincy recently, and there's a lot of talk about Enzo Maresca kind of saying to James, hey, you need to step up and actually be a leader. And I think Maresca might have gotten a bit of criticism for saying that. I think it was personally a really good motivator for James to kind of step up, because we've seen the fact that obviously him not being present in the team due to injury has always been kind of an issue with us not having very many leaders in the team. But today was a perfect example of how you can lead the team without being vocal. Without being the man that's going to shout at people. Yes, I will admit he did have some moments in this game where he probably should have done better. For their goal that Isak scores, I think he is at fault for that. Him and Wes is a bit out fault for that goal. But he makes 3 goal-saving interceptions in this game. 2 clearances off the line, the header right at the end. Oh my, and you know what? The thing which is crazy, he's playing an out of position in this left centre-back role. And I spoke about this in my preview, that I didn't like Gusto playing on the left-hand side. I preferred him to play on the right. Enzo Maresca deserves so much credit for seeing that and going, you know what, Gusto is terrible on this side. Let's put James there, where he can kind of pick up the ball and play the crossfield diagonal balls, because his distribution is so good and he's so good on the ball. And then we can have Gusto on that right-hand side, where he can actually contribute offensively and defensively on his strong side. And he was so good in that terms of playing as that kind of playmaker, deep-lying playmaker at left centre-back. It was really bizarre. As I said this in my preview. I got loads of comments in my preview saying, oh, Cucurella will start. There's no way that Gusto starts in this game. Blah, blah, blah. That type of thing, right? And I knew Cucu wouldn't play. He played the full 90 in midweek. He's not going to play the full 90, go on a trip, go on a plane journey from Greece back to England and then start the next game. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Like, we have so much depth in this team and so many good players that we don't need to do that. We don't need to risk players anymore. Right? And I'm personally fine with Gusto playing over Cucurella if it's in his right position and we are making those adjustments that Enzo made in this game, and this is the thing which I love about Enzo Maresca so much this season, is the fact that he has adapted so well to every single game. He's never done the same mistake twice, right? He's never seen like, hey, this didn't work last game, let's do that again. He doesn't do that. He goes, you know what, this didn't work, let's change it. Let's see what we can do and kind of impact things differently. And I said the biggest takeaway that I had from that Liverpool game was that Gusto was just so poor in that left back role that he just kind of, it felt like such a waste when we could be playing someone else there. And I said in my preview for this game that James and Gusto could swap and he could play in that left back role and invert. But actually, this is even more smart idea from Maresca to play him as a left centre back rather than the left back and let Gusto still invert, just be on the right side. But yeah, absolutely heroic defending from James today. Real captain's performance, and yeah. That's the type of leadership we need in this team, where we need people that are going to lead by example, not just be vocal and kind of telling people what to do and that type of thing. We need people that are going to lead the team and say, hey, this is how you defend, because God knows our defenders need teaching. They really do. There was some very suspect issues at the back today. And you know what? Let's talk about those. Let's move into the bad box. I'm going to be putting one player in here. I'm going to excuse Wesley Fofana because he got injured so early on into this game. You could see from how strapped up his knee was that he was just not moving right, and I can't blame him being too poor defensively when he is obviously playing through injury, and I don't think he's going to start the next game. I think he's probably going to be rested. However, I cannot make that same excuse for Robert Sanchez, and genuinely, I usually am really objective, and I don't like to put my biases into these analyses. And in general, I don't like to jump on the bandwagon and be like, after a couple of bad performances and be like, oh, he needs to be replaced. I'm not that type of person. I'm not really reactionary like that. But my God, this guy is an absolute clown. Like, genuinely a fucking clown. I don't want to see him in the starting 11 again. This is horrific, right? I'm going to tell you some stats. This is absolutely a joke. So, touches. He had 45 touches in this game, which led him to having 40 passes. Out of those 40 passes, he only completed 20, so a 50% completion rate from his passes. And it gets worse. He had 25 long balls in this game. Only 6 of them were accurate. Now, if my math is correct, and you times both of those by 4, you get 24 out of 100, which is 24% of his long passes were actually accurate. And obviously, if you flip that, that's like what? 64% of his passes going wayward. It's shocking. How can you be that poor? I don't get it. I don't understand. It's so shocking. He got dribbled past once as well. How's that even happening? You're a goalkeeper. How are you getting dribbled past? But yeah, I'm being a bit jokey here, but like it is kind of a concern for me personally that our team is so centered around keeping control in the backline and having that goalkeeper that can play as a deep line playmaker, can play as a auxiliary centre back at times, when he is this poor at passing the ball. And like, it's weird because we see it sometimes that he's got it in his locker, but other times he's just so casual with the way that he plays the ball out that it's just like, it's like, oh, we're just going to see those mistakes happen. And again, we got really lucky that he didn't let in Isak for a goal. Caicedo with an absolutely heroic tracking back to get there. As Van Dijk scored, oh, let's go. You know what? It's really funny. So, I have Van Dijk in my FIFA team, and genuinely, I'm not even kidding. 50% of the goals I score on this installment of FIFA and FC 25 are from Van Dijk headers. Like, he is insane in the box. So I'm assuming that's what he's done. I'm assuming it's a header again, because he always scores them. He's so good from those situations. But yeah, I put this on Twitter, and genuinely, if Jurgensen doesn't start the next game in the Cup, I'll be surprised, because obviously we like to rotate players. But if he doesn't start in the next Premier League game, I would genuinely be shocked. I think that Enzo Maresca will run out of patience. I genuinely think he's going to run out of patience with Sanchez. We saw how at Leicester, Enzo Maresca had a bit of a tiff with Mads Hermansen at times, where he said to him, look, if you keep going long, he was trying to kind of encourage him to play the ball short. He's like, if you keep going long like this, I'm subbing you off. Like, he said that to Mads Hermansen. I genuinely think Sanchez is going to get the same treatment after this game. He's going to get the absolute hairdryer in the dressing room, I would imagine. Because, yeah, it's just not acceptable at this level when we are a team that's chasing top 4. And in truth, we could be chasing the title if we really put our minds to it with this team and how well we've been performing. It's not acceptable for a goalkeeper to be giving the ball away 50% of the time. That is horrific. And yeah, as Crimson says, the calmness from Jurgensen is so much better, and he just looks so much more assured. So, and that's with players in the back line that aren't as good as our first team when he's doing that. So I would like to see Jurgensen get a few games to kind of prove himself, and hopefully we can kind of see what happened last season where Petrovic kind of took Sanchez's spot pretty quickly. I imagine the same thing would happen if he was given the chance. But yeah, why have you done that then? There we go. Let's go back into some goods, because I'm not going to rant on too much about the bads. Actually, you know what? I should get all of the bads out of the way, and then we can talk about the goods. Because you guys know what's going in here. Let's. It happens every time. It just happens every time, man. I want there to be a ban. I want there to be a ban on bald people. If I ever become a member of Parliament, if I ever become a higher up at Stamford Bridge, my first decree would be to ban people that are bald from Stamford Bridge. I would ban them. They're not allowed in the stadium. Because it seems that with at least Premier League referees, that the amount of hair follicles that you have is directly linked to brain cells. and that the less hair you have, the stupider you become, the worse your decisions become. The absolute ridiculousness of what goes on in these games every single week is just astounding. And it's really funny because up until about 30 minutes, I was sitting there being like, oh, this ref's doing really, really well. You know what's really funny is that who was it, the you guys talking about that, who was the referee that was really good a few seasons ago, and then he shaved his head and he's become like bald and now he's terrible? Who is that? It's one of the leading referees in the Prem. I can't remember which one it is, but I reckon Michael Oliver can do the same thing. Honestly, he might be able to do the opposite. If he shaves his head, maybe he'll turn into a good referee. But yeah, again, I was thinking up until like 30 minutes of this game, I was like, oh, the referees are doing quite well. And then suddenly, that one decision happens where our player gets pulled back in the box by Dan Burn. It's not given as a red card, which is fucking stupid to me. It's not given as a penalty, which is even worse. And as soon as that happens and the crowd starts getting on the back of the referee says, you know what? I'm making this about me. This is the game where I make myself known. Was it Noni? Yeah, it was Noni. Okay. And literally from that one point, I tweeted this. I said I was about to praise the referee before that happened. And then from there, it was chaos. He was just like, nah. He was like, nah. This is not happening on my watch. We're not having a normal game of football. This is the Premier League. I'm a bald referee. We're having a shocker. And like, yeah, as you said, it was bad for both sides. Like, it was bad for both sides. I think it was more bad for us, admittedly, but like, he was just atrocious in general. The absolute, you know who I feel really sorry for in this game? Christopher Nkunku. What the fuck did he do to Simon Hooper? What did he do to him? Did he piss in his cornflakes this morning or something? Like, genuinely, everything that went against Nkunku as soon as he came on, he's just like, no, I hate you. You're not getting any decision. Admittedly, yes, the penalty call, which he gives, the referee does give, but then obviously overrules because of VAR. I personally think that's a foul. I think it's soft. I do think it's soft. But considering what happened earlier in the game, where Dan Burn did the exact same thing and got away with it, I think this should be standing, 100%. Because, and I know that's retroactive refereeing, and that shouldn't be a thing that should happen, but it's justice in my opinion, because it's silly. The one that irks me the most is when Nkunku wins a perfectly clean tackle from behind, wins the ball, and is running through on goal, and he pulls the game back for a foul, and I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? Yeah, I did see Lewis Hall actually in the Newcastle team. He was the highest rated player in the team. He got an 8.0, I think, which is about the same as our highest player. He was astounding today, and it kind of shows because of how I mentioned Neto obviously playing really well, but Noni Madueke tried his best, and I think he did have some good moments, but he was mostly locked up by Lewis today, and I think that he didn't really get much out of him, which just goes to credit of how good our academy is. To be honest, like, there's no shame in getting locked up by Lewis Hall because he's an absolutely wonderful player, and it's kind of a shame that we let him go. But obviously now we have Cucurella and Vega, so it kind of worked out well. But there we are. But yeah, this refereeing just was awful, and I had to mention it because it's something I have to mention every week. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but Christ alive, the baldness is like, you know what's the thing which is funny, right? You guys don't know this about me. I'm a person that I've shaved my head multiple times just because of boredom, or just like, you know, screw it, I don't like my hair anymore, it's going. I don't think I've ever gotten stupid from it though, whereas all of these guys have. I hope that when I get into my old age and I'm in my 60s or my 70s and I've lost all my hair, that I don't turn into a Premier League referee. Like, that level of incompetence, that level of just genuine stupidity that just doesn't make sense. And again, like, as someone said there, like, it was for both teams. Like, I bet Newcastle fans are coming away from this game being like, fucking hell, this referee was dog shit. Like, it's so funny when, like, you have both teams being like, wow, that was terrible. Like, it's crazy to me, because usually it's one way or the other. Like, send them all to Turkey. Yeah, they get the hair transplant, get the old thing that Wayne Rooney got. But yeah, jokes aside, let's talk about some more goods. We've got two more goods. The first of the two, I'm leaving the last player to last because we know who it's going to be. The first of the two is going to be the combination So we've got a chain link here of Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. How good were these two today? Absolutely unplayable. In a game where I specifically said in my preview that the midfield battle would be so important and winning second balls and things like that, this is really just, there you go. And winning second balls and things like that was going to be so important for this game. This was so good from both of them. They were absolutely everywhere. And again, like I said with Neto, like I said with James, Lavia getting through 90 minutes without an injury, absolutely wonderful. That's such a blessing to us. Obviously, I want to highlight Lavia specifically here because of his intervention for our second goal, I believe, was so imperative to the way that we obviously get that goal. Because if he doesn't win the ball back and press up high the pitch and win the ball back, we don't get that. And as I said, that's one of the things which I was worried about in this game, is that Newcastle's midfield is their best part of their team, right? He is so good. Or their midfield is so good at, as I said in my preview, being industrious, right? They're so hardworking, they've got so much energy, they're so defensively astute, and they can overwhelm you. And against any other midfield in the league today, with the performance that the Newcastle's midfield put in, I think they would have gotten overwhelmed. And for parts of this game, they did get the better of our midfield, but for more parts of the game, Caicedo and Lavia just absolutely played them out of the pitch, like genuinely. Like, I think the stats from Caicedo I saw were really funny. Like, I don't think he got dribbled past once in the game. He has 94% accurate passes. He obviously has 2 key passes, 3 accurate out of 4 long balls, 1 4 out of his 7 ground duels, 1 out of his 1 aerial duels, and he only lost possession 6 times, which in a scrappy game like this, that's a really low number. 7 interceptions, 4 tackles, 1 clearance, which again, that clearance from Caicedo was basically stopping a goal. So there we go. But yeah, these two just superb in the middle, and we have been seeing it. We've been saying it for so long, where we're like, oh, we just need to get these two in the team together. Like, we'll be unstoppable if we get these two in the team together, and we got it finally. I said this. I said this in my preview. I will not, at the moment at least, I will not say that Caicedo is the best midfielder in the league. I think he's the second best defensive midfielder in the league because Rodri exists. Whilst Rodri is injured and he's out for the season, Caicedo's snatching his crown. Like, genuinely, he is so, everything he does is so good. And it's funny because we're like sitting there like, we lost N'Golo Kante, and we're like, we cannot replace him. It's like the Pep Guardiola meme. We're all like, we cannot replace him, right? We replaced him instantly. Genuinely, it was like the easiest thing ever. We're like, oh yeah, we got Caicedo now. So like, what's the difference? Because he literally is N'Golo Kante regen, who, in all truth, I think, I've said this before. I think Caicedo has the potential to be better than Kante was for us. He needs to get the trophies, obviously, and he needs the longevity, which with the contract that he has will be a thing. He can win headers, which Kante struggled with, obviously being 5'6". Me being a short king myself, I know the struggles of that. But like, again, everything else, the passing, the ability to actually shoot from the edge of the box too, the press resistance, the winning the ball back, the interceptions, just the scrappiness, and just the desire to constantly run, constantly be a nuisance, constantly just make the opposition midfield uncomfortable. And then when you pair that with a player like Lavia, who's a real pure 6, who can also get up the pitch and just be hard to get past, can be a nuisance in terms of winning the ball back high up like we saw, and obviously spreading the ball out from those from that winning the ball back and getting us goals from it. It's a recipe for success, and long may it continue. And speaking of long may it continue, let's hail our king, shall we? Let's hail our king. Here we go. He's in the box again. He doesn't stop. He had one game. He said, you know what? I'm having a rest against Liverpool. I've been carrying this team on my back for too long. I'll have one day off. And next week he's like, sorry, I'm back. Chippy chips. Chinese with those chippy chips. again, I say this every single time I put him in this box. I run out of superlatives for him because I don't know what more I can say that hasn't already been said. The pass that he produces for the pre-assist for the Neto assist to the Jackson goal is utterly sublime, and I genuinely, it's one of those things where I watched it happen and I didn't believe that it happened. I was sitting there like, what just happened? I was sitting there like, this guy's a wizard. And you know what's really funny is I remember when I first started this channel, it was in the era where we got Hakim Ziyech, and I was lauding Hakim Ziyech when we bought him from Ajax. I was like, he's going to be one of these players that just has a wonderful left foot, will be able to play these incredible passes that we've never seen before. And that never happened. And then we got Cole Palmer, and I'm like, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, that's what I was looking for back in 2020 when I made this channel. That's the type of thing I've been looking for. And it's not just the pre-assist for that goal. Obviously, he gets his own goal with a sublime finish. Admittedly, I think Pope should probably do a bit better, but he does the one thing which I kind of tweeted about during the game, is that we saw that Nick Pope was a bit shaky today. He just said, you know what, I'm shooting at you. I'm just going to shoot at you, because that's the thing you got to do. When goalkeepers are spilling things like that, just take the chance, man. Just have the confidence to just shoot. And he never lacks confidence, obviously. He's one of the coolest people in the stadium at all times. Obviously, if the penalty would have stood, I guarantee he would have scored that too. And it's just the little touches and the little, like, I talk about little sparks of inspiration when I talk about us going to the Europa Conference League and showing those smaller quality teams the kind of pizzazz that we have. But Palmer does it against Premier League teams. It's just the little things where he has that signature thing where the ball gets played into him and he's walking back to his own goal and he just flicks it past someone. He's completely gone. Opposite way. Sorry, I've seen this question twice, so I will answer it now. Sorry, I was just in my flow there. I think Enzo's fine with being a substitute. I don't think that he's gonna I don't think he's the type of player that's going to be like, oh, I want to be playing every week. I think he's a type of player that wants to prove himself more than anything, and if he gets the opportunity to play, again, if we get the opportunity to play Caicedo, Lavia and Enzo at times, if we are playing, like, for example, if we're playing 3 pure centre-backs at the back, like Vega, Colwill, Fofana, then there'll definitely be opportunities for Enzo to play in that kind of 10 role with Lavia, Caicedo behind him and him next to Palmer. So I don't think that's too much of an issue. Obviously, if either of those two get injured, Enzo will come straight back into the team. If Palmer gets, or if there's suspensions or whatever, he goes back into the team. And obviously, there's always the cup games and the Conference League, which Enzo will be playing in. And obviously, winning a European trophy is good for him. I don't think he'd complain about winning a European trophy, so I don't think there's much of a concern about that. Obviously, I think he sign a contract extension or something soon, recently anyway, so like he's locked down for ages. I don't think that's going to be too much an issue to worry about. But yeah, Cole Palmer, as I said, just a little flicks, and this is the thing which he's starting to do now, and the reason why I'm so impressed with him in this game specifically is because I spoke about in the preview how he's going to get man-marked. We know he's going to get man-marked. He's getting what I like to call the Eden Hazard treatment, where he's just going to get 9 bells knocked out of him every single week. He's going to get his heels kicked, his shins scratched. He's going to be thrown to the floor every 5 minutes, because that's the only way to stop him. The only way to stop a player like Palmer is just to rough him up and just make him uncomfortable, and that's what Liverpool did very, very well. And I think that, again, Enzo Maresca really took that lesson of Liverpool and said to, like, kind of taught Cole how to kind of deal with that, and that's to not just stay high and receive the ball, but to actually take that extra yard, go a bit further forward, bait the press behind you, and then spin in behind, and they're completely out of position. And it's something that we do so well in this team, is we make counter-attacks happen without actually being on the counter-attack, and it's one of those, again, but where Palmer is the kind of core to that. Jackson and Palmer linking up in that kind of 2 up top at times. It's that those little moments where they get pressed and they can beat that press, and whether it's Jackson holding up the ball and passing it off to Palmer, or Palmer doing one of his little tricks and spinning in behind and laying it off to Neto on the wing or something like that. There's always going to be avenues for us to navigate that man marking if Cole can just decide, you know what, screw it, I'm beating you. You can't stop me. And again, I said this before. I said that, like, Palmer felt nowadays like he was a new Eden Hazard, in the terms that he felt, not only because he's so clutch, not only because he's the one that kind of dictates our games, And not only because he's the one that's going to get man-marked out of every single game, but now, even more so, this fourth point, that now he is the one that's deciding, you know what, I don't care if you man-mark me, I'm still beating you. Like, he is, that's the same level that we have with Hazard, where Hazard, it didn't matter whether you tried to stop him, he was going to have his way if he wanted to, and Palmer's now that exact same player. What, can we even, where is he up to in goals and assists now? Can we talk about this? This is actually kind of crazy, hang on. Let me find the goals and assists. In the Premier League, in 9 matches, he has 7 goals and 5 assists. That's just insane, man. 12 goal contributions in 9 games. And he would have had an extra one if the penalty stood, which is crazy. He's an absolute phenomenon. And again, I said, I run out of words to describe him because I feel like I repeat myself so often that he gets into any team in this league. He gets into the England setup, in my opinion. He should be starting every single game. And genuinely, if they weren't for the likes of Vinicius Jr. and Rodri being players, I think he would be a shoo-in for the Ballon d'Or. And yes, that's my Chelsea bias coming through, but like, there's been, since last year, there's been no better player on the planet than Cole Palmer. Genuinely, since last year, there hasn't been. The only reason he's not getting into those kind of higher upper echelon like conversations of like Ballon d'Ors and that type of thing is because of Chelsea being terrible and us not competing for big trophies. If we were winning the league, or we were in the Champions League, and if we went deep into that competition, obviously we weren't in the Champions League or whatever last season, but if we were to do that, I think Palmer would be like so high up in, so further up in everyone's estimations. And it's nice to see that in a media sphere and a punditry sphere where everyone, it seems, is against Chelsea, and we get so much representation for Liverpool, United, Arsenal, that type of thing, that it's so nice to see we finally have something that is uniting the entire media and the entire punditry team of pretty much every outlet out there, that Cole Palmer is the absolute truth and he's the best player in the league. Everyone is coming around to it now. Everyone's being like, this guy is like genuinely an enigma. And with that, I think I'm going to put up the poll because, let's be honest, we know who you're voting for. Like, I always give you the option just in case you don't want to vote for Cole Palmer. But I mean, we know what's going to happen. In truth, the only reason I'm actually putting the poll up, other than to have a break for my voice so I can take a sip of my coffee, is because I want to see how big the discrepancy is. It's annoying that I can't choose. I can't choose both Lavia and Caicedo, so I've had to choose one of them. And then let's do this. There we go. I don't know. I usually don't bother putting full names. I've put full names this time for some reason. There we go. You guys can vote in the poll, and I will take a sip of my coffee because my voice is very going, as you can probably tell. Oh. I suppose whilst you're voting for that, I can actually check the schedule for our upcoming games, and things like that. So yeah, obviously we have Newcastle next in the Cup. That is on Wednesday, and it's a late kickoff on Wednesday, so video for that preview should be out Tuesday. That's where I'm aiming for. Again, if I have any more technical issues, I'll let you know. As I said, I'm looking to get some hardware updates soon because I've started to get the end of my wick with the technical problems that I've been having recently. But yeah, we have that game, and then immediately after that game on the Sunday we have United, and then after that game we have Noah, obviously the Albanian team in the Conference League, and then we got Arsenal. So yeah, a lot of big games coming up, a lot of tough games coming up. And let me check the league table as well, because we were 4th. Are we still 4th? I think we're 5th now at the moment, aren't we? Yeah, because of the live results. Let's pray that Liverpool get another goal here and we can get above those red bastards. But yeah, you guys have very, very quite obviously voted for Cole Palmer. I think that says 62%. I'll end the poll here. Yeah, 61%. And the coldest of true blues, Cole Palmer, goes into the box. And as I said, let's hope that he can produce a similar performance against Newcastle if he plays in the cup games. As I usually say, thank you guys for hanging out as ever. I'll leave you guys to your evening. I'll leave you guys to watch the match if you're watching the match. Yeah, we can celebrate another 3 points, another tough game that we've gotten through, and up the Chelsea, as I always say. Just, it's so good. I feel so good to leave off the evening with a win. But yeah, enjoy your evening, guys. Thanks for hanging out as ever. I'll still be active on my Twitter and in the community page after this as well. So you guys have a good night, and yeah, I'll hit the outro. Peace. And that was just my Feeling Blue match review for this game. I hope to see you here for the next one. But if you can't wait until then, YouTube reckons you'll enjoy one of these 2 videos on screen in the meantime. Thank you guys so much for watching as ever, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.